I love my life. I love my life. Hi. I didn't know I was going to talk about this. I didn't know I was going to talk about this today. Oh my God. Okay. The energy right now is I can do this. I'm a big girl. I can do this. Maybe this would do better with like a co-host or a conversation. My whole life is a prayer. You know when something is just like so fucking wild that like, what's the best case scenario? Best case scenario, I want to work with Kendrick Lamar one day. Listen, it's just you and me here. Ooh. You ready? I'm just gonna be honest, like that feels like bullshit. That's why I'm able to be so present. We all get to be playful and childlike and dream as big as we can dream. My kids are so cool. I'm just gonna talk about this as if nobody's listening, because the fruit of your life will tell me what's going on in your heart. Okay, I'm ready. Hi. Hold on. So, is this thing on? I hope so. I have a new camera here and my old camera here on my laptop. So I'm going to try to just look here because this is really trippy. Anyways, hi. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm going to call this not episode 1, but it's going to be a preface to season 3. Hi, welcome. My name is Vanessa, and this is the Let's Get Woo Woo podcast. I am so excited to be here. Like, I just feel like giddy, and that's a really good feeling. So I'm gonna sit with this for a little bit because this has not been the energy lately, but it is right now. So I did not take notes, but I have been journaling a lot, and I've been embodying a lot, and so I feel like I am the notes. So as long as I'm here, we're good. Wow, season 3. Okay, let me center to calm down a little bit. You want to breathe with me? Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it all out. Deep breath in. Let it all out. I don't know why, it's just like, as soon as I turn on the camera, it's like, it just hits me, like just, not just the excitement, but like, oh my God, season 3? What? That's so cool, because this used to be just a dream, and and then there was audio, and to be honest with you, it took years for me to get to the point of even creating the podcast. And I don't know how to explain it other than I was waiting for a green light, and one night I got like the inspiration and the green light to do your podcast. I received the name for it that day. I created the social media pages, the name, the podcast on Apple Music, all that stuff. And then I wasn't, from the end of season 1 to the beginning of season 2 was over a year. And I didn't plan it that way. I didn't plan it at all. But that happened. And then I ended season 2 very intentionally. And I went into a state of fasting for the winter, basically. Through all of December, I came out of that in January and was like, I want to do this again. And even in the beginning days of my fast in December, I had decided that I wanted to make 2026 a year of devotion to myself. And a year of just really coming home to myself as an individual, as a human, as a woman, so that I can show up in all of the roles that I want to fulfill, like being a great mother, like creating things and putting them out into the world. And that time of like just really deep silence and deep listening, I feel like was just so nourishing for not just myself and my soul and my heart, but also for my creations and my dreams. And it was just a really sweet, beautiful time that the saga continues in this year of 2026. I did a fast that I just completed like a week ago, and that was aligned with the times of the season of Lent. But it was different, and so I already talked about my other fasts in the bonus episodes prior to this, and I wanted to talk about just this experience, and then come into what season 3 is going to look and feel like, and talk about dreaming that up. So, I'm really excited to be here. I do want to create a little bit more structure in the episodes. I know I just show up and I'm like, hey, I'm here, which I am. But also I want to include like just an intentional couple minutes of centering in the beginning with myself, but also offer that to whoever's here present listening. So that, like you saw today, that was obviously unscripted, but something like that. So you'll see more of that. You'll see more guests. I'm thinking about actually doing a schedule of publishing an episode every other week and having them pre-recorded so that I have some to post during my probably about 3 months off towards the end of the year and the beginning of the year, coming back in the springtime like now, of just new beginnings and kind of beginning to harvest all of those seeds that were planted, or at least watching them bloom like you do in springtime, like the flowers do. So with this more recent experience of a fast, one, I realized as it was kind of coming to its completion that this is kind of a year-long thing for me. And so it's just part of the whole devotion, not just to myself, but devotion of sitting with myself, getting to actually know myself and honoring that. It's a really like profound honoring and reverence of my findings, of what I discover. This fast really early. Okay, so I had set out to do this thing, and it felt like an invitation. So it wasn't like, there's no guilt, where before, when I had done Lent when I was younger and I was part of that religion, there was a lot of like, you better do this kind of thing or else, or something like that. And it's just not like that anymore for me. But it was funny because almost as soon as I like turned the corner to start the fast, the person who I was seeing, I told them that like I wouldn't be available for sex, like it was going to be celibacy, all this stuff, and he was totally fine, totally supportive of it, and I went feral. I was like, oh my god, just like the idea of like shutting it down and not being able to have that, I was like, oh my god. And so the celibacy piece was not really there. It's funny, like when I went to go see him, he was laughing at me. I was like, don't judge me. He was like, I'm not judging you, I just think you're funny. And I was like, thank you, I am funny. But it was just interesting to watch myself and notice that what my desires do, especially when I'm told that I can't have something and I'm like restricting it. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And I was climbing Camelback Mountain for the month of March, and I was like talking with God and about the fast, about the celibacy, about all this stuff. And it was like, the celibacy part isn't about abstinence. It's not about depriving yourself of pleasure or of sex. The celibacy piece for me in this season was more about unmeeting, meaning kind of confronting all of those codependent tendencies and habits and ways of like being anxiously like always like reaching for something or someone outside of me to help soothe me, to help recenter me. And even though I'm somebody who I'm really mindful of that, I intentionally do things so that I center myself, so that I show up whole. It was just like a clear picture of like, oh, okay, I might have a little bit more work to do in this area. I don't know. And it's not like there's anything wrong with desiring if you have a partner, you know, of like that pull back to them. But I really got a close look at myself and was like, okay, maybe it's good that you've noticed this, and, you know, just kind of sitting with it and like, okay, you know, what is it in me that has such a like just desire for that connection. And it was a lot. I'm not going to go into it all here, but that was, you know, something that I was able to like sit with and like journal through and navigate through and experience through. And yeah. The funny part is also when I got to the part about like the fast in regards to like the food, like the no caffeine and all this stuff, it also felt like actually nobody's restricting you here. Like I where December was like a very just black and white, like this is what I'm doing, very clear, and it was easy, actually, enjoyable, delightful, pleasant. This one was more like there was never like clear direction or instruction. And then like a couple weeks in, I was like, what's going on here? Like what, you know, just kind of moving through the inspiration, sitting with it. And it was like, well, the theme right now is devotion to honoring yourself. And it's like, there's not going to be a clear cut curriculum. This is what we're doing. But in each individual choice that you make for yourself, for your body, for your life, are you honoring yourself? And I was like, well played, God, because that's so much harder for me. I can follow a list of this is what I'm doing and be like devoted to that discipline, to it, to a T. I can if I want to, if I actually want to. But to just be like, you can actually have whatever you want, but stop and notice before you move. Is this something that will be honoring to me in the ways that I'm trying to honor myself, as far as my body, my health, devotion to myself, solitude, all these things. And that was just really interesting also to like watch myself and be like, just feel like I had all the freedom in the world, but it was just also like, it almost felt like more pressure to do it based on the honor system of like, okay, well, I just felt like I had to have even more like loyalty and integrity to the honoring of myself in the thing, as opposed to when I had like a black and white outline of this is what I'm doing. So that was really interesting too. I started hiking a lot more, being outside. I really got that craving back in December to just like move energy in a really big way. And it hasn't really left. I think I'm just processing a lot of grief, both past and present. And it's heavy and it's not easy, but it is necessary and it is good. And it's also necessary to physically exert my body and move my body, my muscles, fascia, all these places that hold memory in my body, some that's been there for years, and to allow it to actually like move through and pass through. So I've definitely been like honoring that. I go hiking pretty often now. Sometimes I'll go I have a chance in the mornings, depending on my schedule. But that's been really cool. My meditation practices have been, I would say, enriched. I've been doing this class, so it's Arkara is the name of the class. Taja Moore is the teacher, and it's a virtual class community, about 40 people, and we gather virtually twice a week, and it's like a soul school. We do energy work, learn how to really, the first year is learning how to like embody what we need to embody and being in our own bodies and finding safety there in our own bodies, playing with that through capacity, through somatics, through all these things. And it's like perfect timing. It's really great, like direction, beautiful community and support, and like understanding and being able to relate with people on these sort of topics, and this level of like, we just kind of have a baseline understanding and we start there, and then we can have conversations that build on that, as opposed to like meeting someone blindly and like kind of gauging where they are, like what, what kind of things, what kind of conversations could we actually engage in that like it would even make sense for us. That's been really cool. And through that, there's been a lot of like inner child work, like meditations, guided meditations, going back and like really digging up, like doing some really heavy lifting on a bunch of stuff that I didn't even remember was like a thing. And I'm just like, fuck, like, damn, I forgot about that. I completely forgot about that. And it's there. And it comes up, and it's like really difficult sometimes because most of the time I have the girls. And so I'm like either doing the class or doing like the work, the meditation, the energy work. And I try not to do it in the middle of the day, but depending on what's going on, sometimes it'll just come up because I'm like digging it up, and it's like it comes to the surface, and I'm just like trying to life still, trying to mother, trying to work, trying to create, and trying to balance that with all of this other processing that's going on. So it's not easy, but it's really good and really helpful. I think it's perfect timing, like I said, divine timing, but also really necessary for me to actually move on to like the next level of how I want to show up as a mom, how I want to show up in my life with my dreams and my creativity and the projects that I want to create, and just business ventures and all these creative endeavors. And it's like, I don't know, it's just like, like when you're cleaning your room, you're cleaning your house, and it looks okay, and you just kind of, you want to clean, but you want to do like a really deep clean. You kind of have to take everything out, and it looks terrible. It looks worse before it gets better, because you have to like take everything out, get rid of all the stuff, do so much purging, and then finally organize the things that actually still belong there. That's what it's like. And it's messy. It's messy. There's been all the feels from top to bottom, the full spectrum of this human experience. And it's good. It's really good. I'm going to pause for a minute and center. Hold on. I did notice that when I did my fast for the month of December, that there was a lot of, I don't know if ego is the right word, but it was very like masculine energy of like, just this very like raw, almost angry of like, I'm no longer going to accept less than I deserve. And it was very like, it felt very in your face kind of thing. And that's what like was rising up through me in that period of time. And now I feel so much more like, it feels more feminine. It feels a lot softer. It feels like there's no need to prove anything. There's no need to even use words, really. I am who I am, and I embody the energy that I'm experiencing. And me just existing kind of speaks on its own in my life, in whatever I'm doing. And that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool experience because it's like I'm just really learning to harness my energy and be in my body and be really present in my life. And it feels really silently powerful. Like, it doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be, oh, look at me. It doesn't have to be like just yelling, rageful, any of these stuff, revenge, none of that. It's just like, it feels like a really big relief because of the releasing of everything. Like, there's no pressure. There's no, like, expectation. There's no, like, asking anybody for anything. And it's like, I'm just existing. And I'm following the flow of my life and the inspiration that comes in, and especially through like creativity and direction on ways that I want to grow in my own like self-regulation of my emotions, how I want to show up here in my home with the girls, projects that I'm working on and they're coming to fruition. There just doesn't feel like there's an urgency anymore. Like, it's just really a surrender. And I hadn't really thought about it till now, but that feels really good because when I set out to do this more recent fast, that was the theme of like surrender via just trusting that like God's like, I got you. Like, do you trust me? And that feels really cool because like I hadn't really realized that. Wow. I don't know at what point. I couldn't tell you it was day 11 or day whatever it was because I didn't count the days. But like also, I couldn't tell you there wasn't one point where it happened. It was just like the entire thing was just a letting go of like feeling the need of the pressure for me to make shit happen. And it's like, you know what? I let go of that feeling of that obligation on myself, and the world kept spinning, said the Virgo. So that's pretty cool to just like really have experiential knowledge of what that feels like in my body to say, what happens if I let go of this and I just trust? What's going to happen? And it's like, wow, it actually still flows better. I'm less overwhelmed. I'm less overstimulated. I'm able to show up with more patience and calm in my life. I'm more grounded, more present, definitely more in my body. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. It really is. I really hope that this is recording. Oh my god. Okay. What if I just start looking over here? See, because if I look over here, then this is like my side profile. So crazy. But the video quality is noticeably different, as you probably don't belong down the road. My journal? I feel like I should go get my journal because I'm trying to run out of things to say. Okay. I will say that one of the things that I really appreciate of like these experiences and these fasts is how I'm just more mindful of seeking for anything outside of myself. In particular, when it comes to like content, whether it's through social media or YouTube, even if it's long format, I'm just a lot less inclined to do it out of habit and to just watch something just to be watching something just because this is somebody who I watch. It's definitely decreased. And also, I just wait for like the nudge or the inspiration or the direction to be like, this one might be something you want to watch. And that feels like I've regained back time and attention and energy. A lot of times when I'm watching things on social media or YouTube or whatever it is, I'm really sensitive to people and their energy. And so I might carry a 10-second clip that I saw that, was really sad or was really intense or was really kind of triggering. I might carry that with me for days. And it'll just, now I'm learning more how to do like energy work where like if I know that something isn't mine, just kind of clearing it out of my energy. That's been really helpful. But like just to be more consciously aware of how I'm engaging with energy outside of myself, in particular when it comes to content, has been really helpful to just being able to be present in my own body and embodying my own energy. And I think as a result of my energy right now, it just feels really potent. Like it feels dense. And to me, it feels really good. Like where before I think I was just kind of leaking energy in different ways, kind of fragmented, either through different relationships or dynamics, or even like doing work that I feel like I've kind of outgrown now. Things like that, where it's like it's whatever I'm doing that is out of alignment with where I'm headed in my life, I just feel like an aversion to that. And in a way where I can't continue to exist in my life in ways that I know better now, so I have to do better kind of thing. And for example, like honoring myself as a human being and valuing myself and my presence and like all of these things. This is something that I actually had to work up towards. Like I understand that it's something that humans should innately possess. Unfortunately, that was not the case for me. And so I had to teach myself in relationships where people took advantage of the fact that I didn't know my worth. And they were fine taking whatever I gave, and I gave a lot. And they were fine taking, and they were fine me not requiring what I deserved. And that worked for different marriages that I was in, the 2 different marriages I was in, for all kinds of relationships, in all kinds of dynamics, in workplaces and connections and previous marriages, like even other long-term, like personal relationships. And learning to set boundaries in your life with people who you already have established dynamics with can be really difficult. Like saying this is who I was, and now I've changed, and now this is how I want to show up. That can be hard. It really feels like I'm just kind of living my life and doing all these, like if doing the work was a person, that's me right now. And I've never shied away from it. I've always kind of leaned into it, but like this year is like just all of it. All of it. I'm just going to do all of it because it's time. You know what I mean? But also the work, the work that I'm doing really translates into the creative projects that I create because it's just my life, it's just my story. And for example, I'm working on a project to create certain type of like guided meditations and frequency music, right? And I'm doing it because I think it'll be hugely successful and I think it'll be great. But also, I'm doing it because I need it for myself first. So I'm literally like creating these things and these like affirmations and guided meditations for all the things of all the ways that I'm experiencing things that I'm digging up and ways that I want to create habits in my life and all these things. And it's like, these are tools that I actually need for myself first. So I just think it's really cool that like, I'm just kind of existing and I'm living my life in the ways that I do. And I'm creating the tools that I need for myself. And in that, I'm also creating things that I can share with the world. Even this podcast is like I said, just means so much to me to be able to speak my story and for me to be able to go back and listen to myself. Like it's just, I don't know, unless you are somebody who does that, it's kind of hard to explain what that experience is like. But for me, it's been so meaningful and a way that I honor myself as well as probably like therapeutic, I would say. You know, just kind of unpacking that and realizing things about myself. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'll sit here at the mic and inspiration will flow through me and I'll go back and watch it and not even remember everything that I said, and it's like, oh wow, that's interesting. That like that's how I talk about that. That's how I perceive that. Like that was my experience of that, or I didn't even remember that I had said that. Crazy. But also not. Also not. Let me just be honest real quick. I'll probably cut this out. For sure, I'll cut this out. I've been experiencing a lot of sadness. Like I said, processing grief for different things, past, but also present. And it's one of those things where, like, me being me, I just want to give people the benefit of the doubt. I just want to say, oh, you know, it must be this, or they must be experiencing this, or this must be hard for them, or whatever it is. Even understanding the why behind somebody, the why reasoning behind why somebody does what they do. And it's just like, I can no longer make excuses for anybody in my life. I, right now, am not engaging with anybody, like, in any dynamic. I just keep to myself. During the week, I have my daughters. On the weekends, I don't, and that's it. And I talked about this at the end of season 1, where I was like talking about how I was still I was looking forward to the season of life where I would be in my own space and be able to just be utterly alone and just allow everything to integrate in my body, of like digesting everything that has transpired before that point and integrating that in order to be present in my body to say, well, that was true. And now retraining my whole nervous system and telling it that actually you're safe. It's okay. You're okay. You don't need to be bracing yourself for the shoe to drop anywhere. Your space is safe. It's sacred here. It's actually quite holy, and you're good. You're good. Not only are you safe physically, energetically, spiritually, emotionally, you're actually doing what you need to do to experience what you've always wanted to experience, and that's to liberate yourself and live in full freedom. And one day I'll probably write a more full story of what the experience was for me. I don't know when, because I feel like you never really arrive. It's never like, okay, I'm healed now. It's just layers and layers and layers. And it's like there's never one moment, one instance, one day. And there might be like identifiable tower moments, so to speak, or like just big moments of like either crashing out, shit falling apart, or this just big impactful thing that happens. And that does, pivot things a little bit. But for the most part, it's just day in and day out of what are your daily habits? What are your practices? How are you showing up for yourself and your life and what you want to experience, and for your family and those who matter to you the most? I found out that it's truly the little things in life that actually create the big changes. Meaning the smaller habits, the smaller ways that we choose to either honor ourselves or make a choice that kind of goes beyond the capacity of what we have at the moment. But also, it is what it is. And cumulatively, those choices add up. So like, yes, balance, yes, moderation, and honoring things for the majority of the time. and then still being human and allowing yourself to live your life and enjoy those things with freedom. I feel like my threshold for the need for stimulation has gone down. I don't feel like I need to be constantly listening to anything, watching anything. Where I didn't before, like I don't watch TV. I actually hate having background noise on, unless it's music. But I'm just so much more content and full in just being present in not just in the moment in my life, but in my body. Because I want to honor my body and actually really listen to different ways that it's communicating to me through sensation, through intuition, through all of these things, through energy that's coming through my body, through emotions. And that takes stillness, that takes silence, that takes presence, and that takes listening. And that is a practice. It's not something that, at least for me, that I can just kind of turn on and off and that's how it works for me. It's something where like, this is just my way of being. And through that habit, I'm able to do that pretty often, where as a result of all of those times that I stopped and paused and listened and checked in before I made a decision, before I moved forward, before I reacted, I stopped and paused and took a breath before I sent the text, before I said the thing, before I made a decision. Like, and not making decisions when I'm in the muck. I know enough to know that energetically, there's just days where it's just a shit show. Whether it's the astrological weather, whether it's the energy in myself or the people around me, whether it's circumstances or stress or overwhelm, whatever it is, there are days when no amount of affirmations or prayer or sage or Palo Santo or bringing in the light will help. But I do keep specific practices and tools in my tool belt where, like, it does actually help a little. It's not gonna like lift all of it, but it'll get me to bedtime, like taking a shower or a bath, like doing these practices that I do where it's like shaking, like literally shaking like the bad energy off, or doing like this like tapping, you know. Hey, you're the one who clicked on the Let's Get Woo Woo podcast. What did you expect? But these are like simple little practices that I've been doing, is sitting here in the living room in front of my daughters so that they can see what mommy is doing when she feels overwhelmed. They can see me moving my body to move energy off of me. They can see me listening to affirmation music, to worship music, and they sing along. They know all the words. They can see me doing the tapping. They can see me doing deep breaths. They can see me pausing when I'm losing my shit with them, saying, I'm sorry. Let me start over. My bad. And trying. They see me trying, and it's like, to me, there's no bigger mirror and nothing that matters more to me that reflects the state of my inner being on the outside of me than my relationship with my kids and the energy here in our home. Because for me, that's a priority. It's not, I think when you're a mom, it's not necessarily like, I don't know, I don't want to be like, my kids are my whole purpose of being and existing. Like, that's not it either. But also, this, I was entrusted with this sacred job to mother them. And it's going to be the job that takes priority on my list for the rest of my life. And that is a privilege for me. And also, it's challenging. And it's also beautiful because it makes me confront all the things within me that these are things that I could have swept under the rug, and I did for years, and didn't have to confront ways that I hadn't learned how to emotionally regulate myself, ways that I hadn't learned how to find my own center and my own wholeness, ways that I was still trying to numb out or disassociate or find something outside of me to bring me back to an okay state. Don't get me wrong, like, those things are still around, and I will most definitely, very mindfully, be like, you know what? This is a week, and I need something to, like, help get me through this week. And you know what? Tonight, I'm going to get some ice cream, and I'm going to eat my feelings. That's what I'm going to do. Or tonight, I'm going to, after I put the girls to bed, I'm going to take an edible and scroll on Instagram for an hour. And maybe before that, I do my pendulation practices where I'm still checking in with my body. I'm still doing that. And also, I'm like, I'm going to give myself this little moment of pleasure in this way, this little moment of joy in this way. because I want to, because I don't want to just feel all this shit and grief and these things all the time. Sometimes it's just too much, and it's like, it's okay to allow yourself, especially if you can be mindful about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And it's like, this is going to be a conscious decision, but I'm doing this. I'm doing this right now. Oh man, I feel like this isn't a great episode, but it's good to like get myself back practicing, you know. Okay, so season 3, right? Okay. I think I talked about this a little bit in the beginning, but basically having a schedule when I drop the episodes every other week, probably on like a Saturday or Sunday or Monday or something like that, probably at like 11 a.m., you know. But doing that, I definitely have a list of people who I've started to reach out to invite them onto the podcast. I feel like it'll probably be like a birthday party, like when you have a birthday party as a kid and you invite like 20 people and like maybe like 8 of them show up. I don't know. It might be something like that. But what I would like to do is do like every other episode a guest. And the other ones alternating with like solo episodes. However, if they all say yes and let's do it, like let's do all the guests, that'd be so cool. But I had this one, I sent an email to one of my like mentors in the space of somatic embodiment. I talk about him a lot in here. Luis Mojica from Holistic Life Navigation. He is launching his new book that just came out. And he was doing a pre-launch to have people pre-order it, because apparently in the publishing world, pre-orders are just really super important. And so, of course, I pre-ordered it. It's called Food Therapy. And he talks a lot about how food is one of the biggest contributors to regulating our bodies and all these things, the Bean Protocol, and just how that kind of helps you have sustained energy in your nervous system capacity and all these things. Incredible information, great teacher, great team of people. I actually did some one-on-one sessions with Camille Leak, who is one of the people who facilitates the courses with him, along with the rest of the team. Anyways, they sent an email out, and he was like, if you know any podcasts that I can go on to, like, you know, market my book or whatever, let me know. And I didn't send it for like 2 months. He had sent this email, I think, in like January, and I probably sent it in March. And I was like, you know, telling them what the impact of their work has had on me in my life, in my everyday life, which has been huge. And I was like, I'd love to have you on the podcast for a conversation, you know. And I wanted to be like, part of me wanted to like play small and be like, I know it's not a big podcast, I know I really don't have an audience, but like, I promise you it'll be a great conversation. Like, it's going to be great. And it's somebody who just has really embodied your work and admires you as an overall kind of teacher and leader in the space, and with obviously your own podcast and all the things that you speak on and teach. It's going to be great. And I sent the email, and it was just really kind of, here's the invitation. And I didn't downplay it and was like, I know I don't have all these blah, blah, blah. I know I don't have this. I know I don't have that, blah. And I just sent it. I was just like, here's the invitation. You know, look for yourself and let me know. Get back to me. And they did. And they were so kind. And they were like, you know, we actually need to focus on basically numbers. They're trying to like publicize the book, market the book. And I was like, I totally get that. They're like, you know, but next year, after the book tour is done, we'd be happy to revisit this. And I was like, that's so cool. But it was like just this kind of cool experience of me kind of shooting for I should show you my vision board. Like, go get it. Shooting for the stars of what I want. And there's this video that is on my morning playlist that I play almost every day when we're getting ready for school. And I play the playlist every day, but this video I play almost every day. And it's called, what the fuck is it called? It's by Joseph Sullivan. And he did a video called Get Your Hopes Up. And the only reason why I know that is because he references that in this video. And this video that I'm talking about, me and the girls, like, we know it by heart. Like, we probably heard it at least 200 times. And he's like, he begins it by saying, they say, if you shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. False. And that was his intro. He goes, keep my spirit alive. And the girls, like, know this whole thing. It's so cute. Anyways, he's talking about how, like, don't go towards what's practical in your life, what you can practically accomplish, and that's going to be your goal. He's like, go for the thing that you actually want to do, that you've always wanted to do, and reverse engineer. Like, start there and reverse engineer and be like, what do I got to do today? What can I do tomorrow, next week, next month, next year to get there? It's just a dream. But if I work backwards and I start taking tangible steps, like, I'm pretty much quoting it because I've heard it so long. Anyways, I have, excuse me, on my vision board, I created like 4 or 5 slides or whatever of the podcast and guests that I want to have on the podcast. And of course, Joseph Solomon is one of them. But Luis Mojica's on there too. Okay, I have to show this to you. I'll go get it right now. But there's this one that I have that's with me and Kendrick Lamar, even though I feel like he probably doesn't even do interviews, but it's okay. And it was like late at night. I was trying to finish up my vision board to send it off to get it printed in color or whatever, all this stuff. And it's this picture of Kendrick Lamar on a podcast, on a like podcast stage. And it's this guy that's interviewing Kendrick Lamar. And I put my face over the guy's body that's interviewing him. And it's just so funny because I didn't notice it till it was up on my wall. But the guy has like this size 14 foot. So like he's sitting there with his leg crossed and his big old, I don't know, Air Force Ones, his white shoe, giant shoe, and like my little head on this man's body. I gotta show you. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay. So, I hadn't really done like the due diligence of like making a list of what I wanted to talk about for season 3, but also because I've been like sitting with that for so long, it's just like I said, I've just like embodied it. But I do want to show you this. So this is part of my vision board. I put them in little things so I can put them up on the wall. But so, you know, like the logo, and I put pictures of me in there just to kind of put my energy all over the vision, right? And then these are like screenshots that I took of me in my own episodes and put them next to the people who I want to interview. And then put like their name next to, can you see it? Next to, so like this is the one with Kendrick Lamar. Are you ready? I'm such a dork. Oh my god. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. What? Oh, look at that. It's like so blurry. But, so anyways, I just have all these people who, like Krista Tippett from On Being, obviously. Mary Bruce, who is my teacher for my yoga teacher training. Propaganda. So many people. This one. Tony Jones. Jadina. Talked about her before. Tracy Ellis Ross. Camille Leake. Taj. Deborah Silverman. Joseph Solomon. Luis Mojica. Jesse Reyes. I have Jesse fucking Reyes. Gavin Matei, Rob Bell, Dr. Goldner, Samia Burton. So, like, these are all pictures of me and my podcast, and I got screenshots of them doing other podcasts. And it's like, this is my vision board. Like, this is what I do. So I have these up on my wall in my room, and I rotate them out because I don't have room to put them all up. So, like, I hang them up like this. And, you know, this was like before I had the 2 mics. I put the mics on here that I wanted. And here we are. New camera, eventually like a set. And yeah, it's so cool. Oh, this is a house in the lakes in Tempe. I want a house there for my Arizona home. Obviously not my beach home. This one, I was reading the book. Actually, I think it was an audiobook I was listening to by, what is her name? Louise Hay from the Hay House Publishing. And the way I got to know her was through Dr. Wayne Dyer. That was his publishing company, and they were great friends. And now they both passed. But I was listening to her audiobook. I think it's called You Can Heal Yourself, or maybe another one that I downloaded. And she was like giving examples of how to speak things into your life. And she's like, don't say, I want to, or I can, or I'm going to. Give yourself some accountability in the thing and say, if I really wanted to, I would, ... So I made this one like 3 or 4 years ago now. And so let me read it. If I really wanted to, I could do more yoga, like at least once a day. If I really wanted to, I could eat better because my health of my body and life depends on me doing so. If I really wanted to, I could spend more dedicated time with each of my daughters. If I really wanted to, I could prioritize my well-being more and regulate and heal my nervous system and brain. If I really wanted to, I could record more podcast episodes with people. If I really wanted to, I could invest money in stocks and cryptocurrency. If I really wanted to, I could take the girls on a vacation and buy them more stuff. If I really wanted to, I could meditate every single day and change my whole life. If I really wanted to, I could sing, dance, love, write, and be. If I really wanted to, I could let go of resentment and forgive people and myself. If I really wanted to, I could finish writing my book and write more books. If I really wanted to, I could do more cardio and strength building. And then I put a bunch of pictures like around each one to kind of, again, be like that energy of it. I love my vision boards. This one was a post-it that I wrote to myself. It says, they're already judging you. You might as well be yourself, so at least they judge you accurately. Because, for real. My laptop, computer. Oh, this one has like all the YouTube, awards and stuff for when it takes off on YouTube. This is the Diamond Award. This is, I think, 1 million subscribers. And this is the Red Diamond Award. And this is 1 billion subscribers. Shout out to YouTube. And so, okay, watch. Let me just give you like some insight into how I work. So that, right? I put that on my vision board. I have it on for the one for Dear Daughters ×3, and I'm going to create one for my other channels that I'm doing with the music and affirmations and guided meditations. But watch this. Okay, so remember in December in January when I was talking about my fast in December, and it was the first bonus episode, so I think it would have been episode number 41. And I was talking about how I was just going to bookstores and I would just like see things and I would just buy them. I was just like kind of spoiling myself, whatever. Little things, not crazy, but like stuff that like I would just be like normally like, I don't need that. So you see this. I went to the place where I got that vase that reminds me of the ocean that sits as my centerpiece. And I saw this there and I was like, this kind of feels like what that would feel like, I think. It's similar color. It's obviously a little bit different, but like it's a red like diamond, you know. And so I got this to have like, again, like a physical representation, something that I could hold and look at every day and just be like, one day, you know, one day I will have that. And it's not like something that I obsess over. I don't look at it, touch it every single day, but I can. And then I got this little holder that's like a dove, because that kind of represents spirit. Just kind of holding it, like carrying it. When I say I move, this is what I mean. We're like, everything in my home has a meaning behind it. Like, if you haven't, because most people haven't, but if you could see, there's a lot of words, there's a lot of pictures, there's a lot of pictures in the girls, but also there's a lot of words that I put up that I just like, I need to remind myself every single day of what I'm doing. When I wake up, I need to remember, Vanessa, this is who you are. This is the life that you're creating for yourself. And I need things around me. And I feel kind of like Drew Barrymore on 50 First Dates when she has short-term memory loss. And every single day she has to wake up and be reminded of who she is, because she doesn't remember. And it's not that like I don't necessarily remember, it's that sometimes I wake up in a funk. I wake up and I had a dream and I'm like feeling this, or I wake up and I put back on all the memories or like the resentment or dwelling on shit from yesterday or from the past, and it's like, no. Today is a new day. Today is a new day, and here we are, and we're moving forward, and this is what we're creating. That's why I have all these like things around my walls that say things. Like this one says, she believed she could, so she did. This one says, oh, happy day, which is another song that's on my happy morning playlist from the Sister Act 2. I can't remember what that says. This one I actually made myself, which looks like a third grader made it, but I don't care. It says, what do you want? Create your moment, your day, your life as you wish. And it's like a glitter paintbrush, and it has like glitter kind of paintbrushed all over it. And then above it, there's a purple crayon. It's a purple eye makeup crayon, but it's a purple crayon. And I got that last year when we watched the movie, me and the girls watched Harold and the Purple Crayon. And I was like, what? Okay, not only is the crayon purple, because, you know, I'm obsessed, but also he's literally, quite literally, please go watch the movie. Please, I might watch it tonight by myself, I don't care. He's literally takes this purple crayon in his life. It's based off the book, but he like steps out of the book to be in like the real life. And he's literally creating whatever he wants in his life with this magical purple crayon. It was like the coolest movie ever. I'm probably going to pick that next time we do movie night. It's my turn to pick, because it's just, and I'm not gonna lie, I was unedible when I watched it. So my mind was even like more blown. But I was like, the next time we went to like the Dollar Tree or something, they had a purple crayon, makeup crayon in the makeup aisle, and I was like, oh hell yeah. And I got it and I put it on top of that sign because it was like, what do you want? Create your moment, day, and life as you wish. Quite literally. We actually have the power to do that, and we've forgotten. And that's why I wake up every day and I play the music. I play the affirmation music. I play the worship music. I have all these things around me constantly that are showing me, that are reminding me, that are directing me. This is what I'm doing. This is who I am, and this is the life that I'm walking in, that I'm creating. Not from one day to the other, but from every little step that I take. And every decision that I make either supports this vision and this life, or it pulls me back into something other that I don't necessarily want to experience. And like I said last time, like if I had 2 hands or 2 feet moving in that same direction, how much faster would I go? I love how Elizabeth Gilbert, she talks about how every single day you have no idea how much energy and intention and effort and time she puts into saving herself every single day. That's what she calls it. And it's like all of it, like the breathing, the guided meditation, the morning pages, journaling. She calls it letters to love, or letters from love. And like I feel like I said, if doing the work or inner work was a person, that's me in this season of life. But honestly, like I feel like that's always been me. And I know at some point I have to get out of the placement of there's always something to fix, and just learning to just be in the moment, just exist as I am. And I think once I've unpacked and dug up all the things that I've suppressed inside of me, like the major things, I have a lot more capacity to just exist like that. And I think that's why it's so important to me. I think that's why my last name is B now, because it's so important to me to be able to just exist as myself, to be free enough to not have anything weighing me down like that from within or from without. And that's the goal, is to be able to just exist. And all these other things are just like kind of for fun. You know what I mean? Like the creating, the dreaming of my beach home, the experiencing a great love, all of these things, even being a great mother. Like these are all things that happen as a result of me living fully inside of my beingness, living fully inside of my body and present in the moment that is right now. I know it sounds so cliche, like now is the only moment that we truly have. And I don't mean that. I mean, there's just something so magical and so transportive and eternal about living inside of the presence of your life right now as it is, while still having dreams, crazy big dreams, out there dreams, because it's like in that liminal space, that void of close your eyes and you are still in your body, but you can connect to whatever it is that you're desiring to experience, that you're longing to experience. And there's just something so magical about that. It's like being in the present moment actually erases the boundaries of the physical skin. It erases the limitations of time and space. It erases everything, and it just kind of puts anything that you can imagine and you in the same plane, in the same sphere. And it's like you're there engaging with it. I don't know, it's probably like the quantum mechanics of it or something like that. I don't know. But it's fun. I don't know. It's really great being able to dream up the craziest dreams that I can imagine, sit with God, dream up even bigger, and just be like, cool, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Why not? And to be in a state of, it doesn't really matter when, it doesn't really matter how, I'm going to take the steps that I'm directed to take, and I'm going to live my life, and I'm going to show up every single day doing the best that I can. And in the trajectory moves towards that. You know what I mean? Even if it's not a direct nope, which I think it can be, but also for sanity's sake, gradual can be good, you know. I think I'm almost done here. That's going to need a lot of editing. I've been meaning to do this. I'll end on this. Because this is just who I am. Hi, nice to meet you. Okay, so you see this. I don't know if you've ever heard the story of Jim Carrey and how when he was younger and kind of starting out in his acting career, he wrote himself $1 million check. And one day after that, he was able to cash it, obviously. And so I've been meaning to go to my bank and order checks so that I could do that. I don't know if it'll be $1 million. It might be 10 million, 4 million, 11 million, whatever. 100,000. I'll just kind of wait and see what comes to me when I have it. But I think that is, not only is it so cool, but I feel like it's so fucking powerful to like have the experience of you're writing a check, your name is on it, you're signing it, you're filling it out, and you put it up on a wall and you see that every single day. Like that communicates to, that's the second white spider I've seen today. That communicates to your subconscious all day, every day. Every time you walk by it, of like, this is what we're doing. And the universe, your life, will start to subconsciously find things to fulfill that. I actually believe that. And I'm not saying that like it's magic. I think there's actually science to it that white spiders mean. Hold on. What are you doing? What do white spiders mean? I felt kind of cool when I saw it the first time because it's kind of rare to see a white spider. Interesting. Anyways, I think that's really cool. I think that's great that he shared that story. I'm going to do it. I'm going to let you know how it goes on the other side. Yeah, I'm just really excited. If you're listening, is there anybody out there listening? If you're listening, if you're still here listening, if you've been listening, if you've listened to any of this, I just want to say thank you for being here, for being a part of this. Shout out to Steph. Stephanie is my boss's boss where I work. And we were doing something one time, she'd be like, you'd be great on a podcast. I'd be like, I have a podcast. And I gave her the title of it and she looked up. And then like, I don't know, a few weeks later, she's like, I listened to your podcast. I was like, you did? You did? Which one? Oh my God. I don't actually expect for people to like listen to these. But shout out to Steph because she's amazing. Like, servant leader to the T. Like, just so beautiful. Like, like when she shows up to work, you know how normally when like the district manager comes in, everyone's like kind of like uptight and they're like, oh my God, this person's here. Like, yeah. She is like the kindest, like just, I don't even know if kind is the right word. She's just like so warm and I don't know. She's sweet. She's like, you would think that you would think that, how do I say this? Most of the time when I've dealt with people in those positions, they've been, I don't know, like arrogant or like, that's beneath me. You know, of doing this or that. And not her. Like, she's the first one down whatever it is, whatever it requires, doing like the mutt work. And it's really shown me that, like, you have to lead by example. No matter what your role is, no matter what the dynamic is in any place where you're engaging with people, you have to be the first one willing to do what it takes. And you have to care about the structure or the entity that you're leading more than anybody else, because I'm not going to care about this business more than my bosses do, because it's like, if you don't care, like, what, you know what I mean? But like, she just cares so much about this place of work, and I'm just like, wow, that's so cool. It makes me want to do a better job. And I have great work ethic. I show up and I do basically my best every single day, but she makes me want to give more. And it's rare when I see people who inspire that out of me, because I already kind of do the best that I can. But she makes me want to give more and go harder, because she is putting in so much effort where she doesn't have to. Like, that's really not her job. Anyways, incredible person. Love her so much. And shout out to you if you're listening. She might be my only recurring audience person. I don't know. For now, because what? Remember? that's the billion subscriber button. So, but also, like, do I want to be seen? Do I want to be seen like that? I document a lot in video form. I used to journal a lot and write. And since starting this podcast and trying to create like my social media page, especially on TikTok, I've gotten a lot more, not just comfortable, but I enjoy delivering via my voice, like in a recording, whether it's like a voice memo or a video. And so anyways, I have this video where I had this realization that I was like, I created the podcast. This is like halfway through season 2. And I was like, I really have no intentions of having an audience or like being able to monetize it, because it's not that kind of creative project. I want it for the community, and I want it for like the platform. And it's like, Vanessa, eventually you're going to have to want the audience, because it's not going to magically appear to me if I don't actually want it, if I have other reasons that I'm resisting it. And, you know, working through those reasons actively and just being more okay with being seen, being more okay with, you know, what's funny is, I'll end on this, that especially during this fast of like this, more so this year of devotion to myself, I've noticed that I realize that it's actually can be quite uncomfortable and confronting being seen by me and being loved by me, because I think because I'm very intuitive, very like in tune, I read and pick up on energy very deeply. And so I can see people very deeply depending on the setting. And that could be really kind of off-putting, scary, whatever it is, depending on the person and the experience and whatever it is. But I feel like if I had somebody around me who saw me the way that I see people, it would be very like intimidating and like, oh my God, like, excuse me, I'm not sure I feel comfortable with you. It's like seeing me being that vulnerable, even if I didn't necessarily sign up for it. And the other thing was that just pouring so much time and attention and intention and love into myself, where I would normally kind of pour outwardly, I realized that, holy shit, like my love, as you might call it, can feel very smothering. It can be a lot. I can see why people can feel like it's too much, because I give and maybe overgive because I struggle receiving. And so when I kind of mirrored my own love back to myself, it was like, this is a lot. It's a lot. And so it gave me more compassion for people who I've connected with in the past or whenever, and like they would just kind of run away or avoid it altogether, or whatever it was. And like just with more understanding that, like, okay, this level of depth of seeing somebody and loving somebody isn't for everybody. Everybody's not ready for that. And it's probably hard to take all at once, you know. And that's okay. I think it's great that I'm not for everybody, because I'm not for everybody. I think it's great that I'm realizing that in a way where it kind of feels good it feels validating to know that, like, this is part of the reason why I haven't really aligned with anybody yet. And also realizing that things like overgiving is a trauma response, because you're trying to earn your worth. You're trying to produce, to earn your place or your value or earn love. And so all of that. Anyways, all that to say that, yeah, it takes a really open and vulnerable heart to be able to sit in the being seen and the being loved. And I, for one, am not there yet. But I'm aware. I'm aware now that, like, okay. So even I think me sitting with myself and seeing myself and loving myself grows my capacity for more of that. And is the point of this year of devotion to myself. So it's really interesting. Anyways, this has been, whatever episode this is, a preface to season 3. I'm going to do a lot of chopping and editing because I was all over the place getting up and down. I'm glad I was able to share my vision board, though, because it was just perfect to be like, I didn't write down what I plan to say for season 3, but I've been dreaming about it. I've been thinking about it. I've been visualizing it. I've been hoping on all these things. And just like I sent the email to somebody who felt like they were out of my league to have on the podcast right now, I'm going to send that same energy of a message, email or DM or whatever it is, to every person on this list this month. And they may not see it. They may see it. They may say no. They may say yes. And then I'll do it again next year. And then I'll do it again the year after that. And even Kendrick. Why not? Why not? That way. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. My name is Vanessa, and this is the Let's Get Woo podcast, season 3. Have a good day. You've been given a vision of something to create. Nobody sees this vision. Nobody's gonna see this vision. Nobody's supposed to see this vision. The vision is for you. If you want it to be portrayed in a better light, you should have chosen different behaviors. It's like there's nothing to stop me. It's fun. I feel free. Like, that's just the most delicious way to live my life. Like, that communion with God, that presence with God is the gift. It is the thing that you're actually longing for. This is exactly where I want to be in this moment with nobody else but you right now, doing exactly what we're doing. And so I already feel like I'm living my dream life, like I am. Do you trust me? Do you trust me that I got you? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I do trust you. I trust that I see things that God has for me to see, and that I can understand those things. It's been so liberating because it's allowed me to really trust myself
And like, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm describing, literally, I'm describing what it was like for me to be able to create something out of nothing. And it'll be great. It's going to be wonderful.